All right, we have an HP laptop. It's, I don't know what type of laptop it is. Let's see here, does this say? It doesn't say. But if I press the power button, absolutely nothing happens. I bought this off of eBay. Let's see what the back says. It's an HP Model 15 TAC dy5399. Model 15 TAC dy5399nr. Input is 19 volts. I think it has it's supposed to have a 12th gen CPU. So I don't know. Because we just tried to press the power button and it did nothing. So let's try to plug in. Dude, I have got to figure out. I finally set up my Atten hot air station, and I just don't have enough room on my desk for all this stuff. So we're going to plug in power. Let's turn, the power supply is turned on. Let's see what happens. So it's drawing 15 milliamps. If I press the power button, nothing happens. So I don't think it's supposed to draw 15 milliamps. Every video that I've ever watched with that guy who fixes Dell computers, that dude is very intelligent, and he gives good instruction, if you know what I'm saying. And Soren, of course. I don't think a laptop's supposed to pull 15 milliamps. It's supposed to pull like 1 milliamps or something. So let's take it apart. All right, we got it disassembled. It's got the hard drive in there. It's got both RAM. That is nice. So I don't think that they actually took it apart down to the board. So here's the battery. So do we have any voltage on our battery? Plus is this side. We don't have any voltage on our battery. I don't suppose anything shorted. 0.22 ohms. Oh no, that's not the one I wanted to measure. So where does power come in? Power comes in here. No. Where does power come in? Yeah, power comes in over here. And then this must be the power cable. Let's try to take the battery out real quick. This is a nice laptop, man. This is a pretty nice laptop. I paid $81, which is probably way too much, but I don't know. I was just trying to find something different to work on than graphics cards or game consoles. And so now let's plug it in. And what I did, just so you know, is I wired up my my little adapter kit that I bought. I wired it up to a USB deal and then soldered it to one of these plugs. One of these plugs right here. And then that way I could just power the laptop via the power supply so I could monitor current draw. All right, let's see here. Yeah, so it's automatically taking 15 milliamps. So I wonder if we could look at that under the thermal cam and see if we're getting something. See if we can see something getting hot. You would think of, after watching every one of Soren's videos or every one of the Dell repair guys' videos, I would have a better idea of what that 15 milliamps could be. I suspect one of the power rails is shorted, but you don't know. This must be where voltage comes in at there. Yeah, I bet it comes in right there at that big, on this big track right here. I'm sure that's probably where the 19 volt, we'll verify that in a minute, but. All right, let's plug it in. something right here. That chip. That chip right there is taking 15 milliamps. Let's get some alcohol and see. I'll get a Q-tip and some alcohol. But then again, that chip may be supposed to get hot, you know? So let's measure around this chip on some of the capacitors to see if anything's shorted. We'll switch this over to resistance, and we will measure around and see if anything is shorted. Oh, that looks all right. That looks okay. That's 0.2 ohms on that side. That's good. 13 ohms there. 13 ohms there. So, that's definitely not good. So that side must be ground. So there seems to be, and that goes into this big coil. So that big coil is 13 ohms. Which I'm 100% sure that should not be 13 ohms. That's probably the battery charging coil. And if that's the battery charging coil, then that's 13 ohms across that MOSFET. We go gate to source, that's good. And then on this MOSFET, we got 20K, so we definitely have $13 ohms across this MOSFET right there. And those are for what? Charging the battery? Are those for charging the battery? There's another. You got all kind of MOSFETs over here, bruh. My MOSFET looks like it got a little hot. Oh, that's good. That's good. So, dude, why do I have so many shorts on this board? And I say shorts, but I don't know if they are shorts. Just as usual, I probably don't understand, but it's going from ground to, let's say, this coil, 0.28 ohms to this coil. There's something wrong with this multimeter, dude. Yeah, I think there might be something wrong with my probe here. I don't know. Maybe that's a bad ground. There's no way, dude. That might be the CPU there. Did I measure this one? But this one is 0.2. There's no way, dude. So when I remove the RAM, this was like 0.2 something, right? Where does my 19 volts come in? I don't know where it comes in. All right, so we got 19 volts here. And that's tied to ground, so we know the 19 volts is making it to this MOSFET here. But it's probably not, it's got to be making it through this MOSFET. So this piece of tape, dude. It's got to be making it to the other side of the MOSFET. No, it's not. What do we have on the gate? Nothing on the gate. And then this ties to this either diode or transistor. So we know that something's making it to here because we're getting, so we got 1 volt here, nothing there, nothing there. I measured here, right? We said we have 1 volt there, yeah. What about on these? 0.6 volts. 0.6. What about this big thing here? 19 volts here. 18 volts there. So we know we're getting our 19 volts into this chip. So we said we had 20 volts on this 220 ohm resistor. And this is drawing 15 milliamps. And then we said that this coil, that's 13 ohms. And this coil, how is that coil connected? So one side of it's connected. I don't understand the battery charge circuit. But we definitely said that this MOSFET was shorted. It's got 13 ohms across it. Question is why does it have 13 ohms across it when none of the rest of them do? I mean, is it just me or does that thing look like it got hot? Maybe not. Maybe if we remove that MOSFET and then see, we'll go 450 degrees and we will attempt to remove that MOSFET in while it's on the board, sitting in here like this. Let's put a little flux down, just a tad. Bro, the Atten hot air station works way better than that Yahuwah that I had. Okay, now let's see, once that cools down a little bit, if we still have 14 ohms on that coil. We do. We still have the same. We still have the same exact resistance. So, and I'm measuring across this diode, or this MOSFET, and it's good to go. It's not shorted. So we know that's not our issue. I just don't know what creates this voltage right here. Whatever's, I'm assuming, again, that's the battery charge voltage. And we know, based upon just looking at thermal cam, this is drawing 15 milliamps, but I don't know what the outputs are. I cannot find the data sheet for that. Let me ponder this and let me see if I can find some more information and I'll be back. All right, so I have been doing some exploring on this board. I went ahead and removed it from the case. And just to remind you that well, I don't know what any of these are. I know that these are most likely the CPU inductors here, and they're reading like 0.9, which I suppose is good to go, you know what I'm saying? I went ahead and put that MOSFET back over here, so it's the board might still be a little bit warm, but in any event, yeah, we're getting 14 volt or 14 ohms there. I don't know what that is. Maybe that's the chipset. We're getting 200 and something ohms here. This, we're getting a dead short. And over here, we're getting a dead short. So what I did was I injected voltage. I injected 0.6 volts at and 1 amp on this coil here. So if I inject the voltage here, maybe you can see right next to it something's getting hot. And so if we go under the microscope, and if you notice one of those capacitors looks kind of hideous, but we'll put some alcohol down and see if we can see any evaporation. You see on that capacitor? So I think the one that looks hideous is actually shorted. Now I don't know how this, where is it at? I can't find it now. I don't know how that affects this, but I'm hoping it does, bruh. I'm hoping it does. So I'm gonna probably try to, let's see if I can get this capacitor off. All right, that capacitor is off. I don't think I melted anything. All right, so this is the capacitor. Let's see if we can see if it's shorted or not. I hope to goodness it is. This would be an awesome, you know what, the easiest thing to do would be to just check if this thing's still shorted. It is still shorted. Oh no, dude. So that capacitor is good? Or is the board just super hot? Let's wait and see. And I don't have a good enough microscope to get in close to the components. To see if they have a crack. Well, something gave because it's not as low as it was. This other one down here is still dead short there. Okay, so we still have a short. That capacitor wasn't the only issue. Well, let's inject voltage again. So there's that inductor. What's that, it's this chip right here, I think. All right, it is off. So let's see what our resistance is now. All right, so it looks like it's going to go up. That still didn't fix that other short I have there. I have another coil that's shorted. So it's 4.4 ohms. Whereas it was 0 before. I don't know, dude, this is stupid. I have some bad luck with these laptops, man. And I bought this because I was like, well, you know what, there's no chance of, it's not a super powerful laptop, so I don't think I have to worry about the CPU shorting or anything like that. But I think this coil right here, it's shorted. When I measure from ground to that coil, I mean, I get basically a dead short, you know? And I think this might be for the chipset, but I don't know if we've cleared this short or we've just made it less shorted. Oh wait, look at that. I didn't even notice that. There is a hole in that chip. Let's take a picture of that. It's a ALC is what? Realtek? What, did this thing get struck by lightning? Okay, so let's I guess let's remove that chip, because we know that that can't be good. It's got a freaking hole in it. I must have switched over. My bad. I don't know when I switched over, but hopefully it wasn't. Hopefully I got some of that. But anyhow, this chip right here, if I didn't, this chip has a hole in it. See how it's bubbled up right there? So this chip was definitely shorted, and it was stuck on this pad right here. As you can see, it had welded itself, but thankfully I was able to get it off. This has got me worried, man, because this is like catastrophic. I don't know what controls that. Doesn't the chipset control all these little peripheral things? I think the chipset is shorted, probably. That's what I think. But we won't know. So is this short better now? Let's get back over to the coil. No, it's still 4 ohms, dude. What the devil? And that's still shorted. So, what in the world, man? What else could be wrong? I just don't. All right, so it's the next day, and I've been messing around with the board. I went ahead and removed this MOSFET, or this inductor, and I removed this inductor. I'm still getting the 4.3 ohm short on this inductor. I'm getting a short to ground on this inductor. According to a Laptex video that I watched, this is the 5 volt inductor, and this is the 3 volt inductor. So 3 volts is shorted. I don't think that's a good thing. I don't think that's a good thing. But I figured I'd try to figure out why this has 4 ohms. So I'm injecting voltage 1.2 volts and 1 amp. And I want you to pay attention to that. So if we go under the microscope and we put a little alcohol down on this driver MOSFET, and we apply power, notice right there in that corner, that driver MOSFET is shorted. So let's go ahead and remove that MOSFET. All right, that is off. So I've got a collection of shorted components and defective components from this board so far. I'm up to 3 defective components. Let's go ahead and measure resistance on that inductor now. Hopefully the short has cleared. So we're going to go back where I have the wire soldered. Now we get 6.9 ohms, but the board's warming up, so let's let it finish warming up. This laptop had a catastrophic short, dude. It absolutely had something catastrophic happen to it, because this is just nutty. I don't even think it's going to be fixable. Like I'm still getting 6.7 ohms here at where my wire is soldered at. We're continuing to try to find the short on the board, and if I power on, something is getting hot right in there. It's like right next to it's this chip. That chip's getting hot. It's taking 201 milliamps. What is that chip? RT. That's probably the PWM controller, I would imagine, right? All right, that's gone. Did that clear our short at our coil? Did that clear the 5-volt short? It looks like it. It's 55 ohms now. So it looks like it is cleared. Did that clear the other short on that other coil? It did not. That is still friggin' this coil over here. It's still a dead short. Well, I think I am finished with that path. I think I've cleared all the shorts off of that. There may be more, but I suppose I should wait for it to cool down. And we're up to 102. And we'll wait for it to cool down. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and remove this wire. And I'm going to move it to this other coil that's a dead short. All right, so let's inject voltage in this now to see. Oh wait, let's measure resistance one more time on that this other leg over here. I still think 116 ohms is too low for my 5-volt rail. You know what I'm saying? I think that's way too low. I wonder if I plugged it, well, I'm not going to do that. We're going to inject voltage on this shorted rail and see what gets hot. It's 3 volts. So doesn't the 3 volts get converted into voltage for your chipset? I thought the 3 volts is what created the voltage for the chipset. That's why I think this, I've been wasting my time to begin with, because I have a short here, and this is 3 volts, according to Laptex's video. I mean, I'm assuming he's right. My man has a lap in his name, you know what I'm saying? So if he got a lap in his name, it means he specializes in laptops. That's the TJ logic. And it's quality logic. All right, I think I found it. I think I found it. I'm using 1.2 volt and 3 amp. And if we watch in here, something's getting hot right there. Something in here. Something right in here. I think a capacitor maybe? Let's see if we can go under the microscope, put a little alcohol down there, and see if it evaporates. can't tell. I don't. I mean, that one is definitely. Seems to be evaporating more quickly than the others. So let's ohm across that. So we got 19 ohms across that. Okay, so let's remove that real quick and just see if that's the issue. No, it wasn't that one. So I'm assuming the stupid rail's still shorted. Oh, that it is shorted. It's 0.25 ohms. So why am I still shorted on my 3-volt rail though? This is the most frustrating thing I have ever done in my whole life. It's like it's a never-ending search for shorts. It's in the chipset, dude. I think the chipset is shorted. Which is what I thought originally. Yeah, it's the corner of the chipset. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah. Well, there you have it, man. I think that's definitive in itself. Yeah, you can see right there. See how it, oh, hold on. See how it starts to suck the alcohol? Yeah, the short is, there's two shorts in this chipset. One is here and one is here. So yeah, it's game over, bros. It is game over for this laptop. I would say that was a waste of $81, but I did learn. And I think the RAM, because this is the RAM inductor. This is the RAM inductor here. It's 293 ohms. And I think when I stick the RAM in, let's see if it shorts out. It does. Do you see what I'm saying? So the RAM is shorted as well. So is the SSD any good? I don't know. I don't know how you would even tell. But let's try this other stick of RAM. We know this stick of RAM is shorted. Yeah. Or maybe the RAM's not shorted. I don't have another laptop to test this RAM, but it's DDR4. So I don't know what happened to this side. It's almost like maybe one of those 5-volt deals that, you know, those people plug into their USB and then it kills the entire system. Maybe that's what happened. But we have confirmed damaged this capacitor here. We have the PWM controller, bad. We have the audio driver, bad. And the driver MOSFET, bad. We also had this component was shorted that was over here. So these are all the components that are shorted. along with, I think, the RAM, because along with the RAM, possibly the SSD controller, and the chipset. Those are all confirmed shorted. So, yeah, there's not a lot left good on this bad boy. At least this MOSFET, if I ever have need of another one, I'll have one. I think it's still good. Well, I'm done searching, man. I found it's not fixable, so. Anyhow, that's it for this one. Y'all be good.